Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a card that is spun off of yesterday's project. So if you didn't see yesterday's video, be sure to check it out. I am using some of the same footage, so beware of that. You are not watching the same video that you saw yesterday. But I am going to be using some of the new Essentials by Ellen Holiday 2020 release, including the Skelly add-on, and I will be using one of the dies from the Gingerbread Boy die set. Now I have both the boy and the girl here. These are designed to make plushies, but I thought I would show you how to use a felt die cut on your handmade cards. So I am going to be using some linen felt from the Essentials by Ellen line. This is a great wool blend felt. It is at a great price point and it die cuts beautifully. And I'm going to be adding some adhesive to the back of it using this Peel and Stick Fabric Fusion double-sided adhesive. Now it's like a double-sided tape, but it's designed for fabrics and felt, and it works so wonderfully. And if you saw yesterday's video, this is the same process that I did for the little skeleton plushies for this little Skelly add-on. Now, once I add the adhesive to the back of my felt, I'm just going to cut this down so it is the right size to go through my die cutting machine, because this Essentials by Ellen felt comes in 9 by 12 inch sheets. Now I'm taking my Skelly add-on dies and I'm just placing them blade side down on top of the felt. So the adhesive is on the back side of this felt. And I'm going to use just my regular die cutting sandwich to die cut this felt with that adhesive on the back. Now, if you're having difficulty die cutting through these layers of felt, you may want to check the makeup of your felt. If it's not a wool or a wool blend felt, it will not die cut as well. Also, if you're having trouble, you can try adding a metal shim to your cutting sandwich to add a little more pressure. But you can see I had no problem die cutting through the felt and the adhesive using just my regular die cutting sandwich. Now I'm going to be using the Spiderwebs die set from the Essentials by Ellen line, and I'm going to be die cutting it from this black glitter cardstock. Now this cardstock has a thick kind of almost chipboard-like backing to it. So I did add my metal shim to my die cutting sandwich to get through all of the layers of glitter and cardstock that are on the back of this, and I die cut this beautifully. Now recently I did a video on tips for die cutting glitter cardstock, and I will throw that card up into the upper right hand corner so that you can check that out. And you can see I have a beautiful glittery spider web and my adorable felt skull and bones. So while I'm die cutting, I'm going to go ahead and take this blush piece of cardstock and I'm going to die cut it using the Essentials by Ellen Essential Rectangle dies. I love these rectangle dies because they not only give you the solid rectangle, but they give you these delicate frames as well in one pass. And I just absolutely love that. They have these available in rectangles, squares, ovals, and circles. So they are great basic shape dies. Now I'm inking up this background stamp. This is the lined by hand background stamp from My Favorite Things. I inked it up using some Concord and Ninth Ballet slipper ink, and I'm just taking my cardstock and pressing it onto the inked surface of my stamp with my stamp just laying on my work surface. And then I can pick it up and I have this great kind of just very natural looking lined pattern on this pink cardstock, but it gives it a little bit of texture and I really like that. And I think that's one of the reasons I also like to use felt die cuts on my cards, because it does give these cards a lot of texture and it's perfect for something like a stocking for the holidays. I just think they make great little accents with a little bit of like tactile texture. These are great for kids because they love to feel things. So I'm taking a sentiment. This is from the Last Bite stamp set from the Essentials by Ellen line. This is an older release from the Essentials by Ellen line, but it has these great Halloween sentiments, including this sentiment that says, "You've been booed." And I'm stamping this using some VersaFine Clair Nocturne pigment ink onto this Essentials by Ellen vellum. And I did prep the surface using my powder tool before I stamped this on using my Mini Misty. And I'm going to remove this from my Mini Misty and add some Raven embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. Now, black embossing powder can be a little bit tricky to use, especially on vellum. So you're going to want to make sure that you prep the surface with your powder tool and then brush away with a clean, dry paintbrush any specks that are left over once you tap that embossing powder off. Do that before you heat set it and you'll get a beautiful, clean image. So now that I have that embossed, I'm just taking some little slivers of foam adhesive and placing it, kind of hiding it behind the embossing that I did on my vellum. And I'm going to place this banner-shaped vellum onto my card front. And you saw me earlier just using my scissors to create that banner shape at the end of this vellum strip. I just cut a slit up the center and then cut from each corner to that center slit to create this banner shape. Now, once I have that adhered, I'm just going to fold over the excess over the top of this pink cardstock. I kind of scored it a little using the blunt side of my tweezer. And then I'm going to take some foam adhesive and add it to the back of this glittery spider web. Now, you can see some of the foam adhesive right now, but I'm going to be placing those skeleton die cuts over the top of that. So I'm going to be covering that up with my die cuts. So now that I have my other pieces positioned, I can go ahead and just remove the backer from the adhesive that's on the back of my felt die cuts and just place them right onto the front of my card. And this makes like felt stickers. They're really fun and easy to use. In fact, I think children could use these in their crafts to add a little tactile texture to the crafts that they're doing. And I think that this is a great way to adhere felt onto the front of your card. Now you can see I added a little bow onto the top of my little Skelly's head. That is from the gingerbread plushie boy die set from the Essentials by Ellen line. That is a part of the new Essentials by Ellen Holiday 2020 release. And you can see I added the little bones that are a part of this Skelly add-on, which is designed to go with that gingerbread plushie die set. I added those onto the bottom of this vellum sentiment strip. Now, I recently had like this revival or reawakening to glitter cardstock, and I am like currently obsessed with it once again. So I'm using a little more of this black glitter cardstock, but because I didn't want to waste all of that cardstock that was in the center, because I'm using this as a mat, I went ahead and used another one of those Essentials by Ellen essential rectangles and die cut the center out of this black glitter cardstock so that I have that piece to use on another project. Glitter cardstock can get a little pricey, so I just decided to preserve that piece. And in order to adhere the cardstock front that I created for this card to that glitter cardstock, I'm using a little bit of liquid adhesive to do that because glitter can be hard to kind of adhere things to with a dry adhesive. So now that I have that layered up, I'm adding some foam adhesive to the back of this card front, and I'm adding it onto a top folding A2 card base that's made from the Essentials by Ellen linen cardstock. Once again, just adding a little texture to this. And once I get that positioned, I'm gonna do a little bit of kind of messing with these die cuts. Laura Basson calls it the zhuzh. I'm just zhuzhing it up a little bit, adding a little bend to it to add a little more kind of depth and dimension. And then I finished this card off with some Pink Fresh Studio crystals in these like kind of smoke gray crystals. I used them for the eyes and kind of scattered them about on the front of the card as well. And that completes my Halloween themed card today featuring felt die cut shapes. I think it's a great way to add some texture to your cards this holiday season. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube, but head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I will have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thanks for stopping by and watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. Thanks again for watching. I'm so glad you're here. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.